Hi, wee Bob here. And have you ever watched Star Wars and been scared? Well, we'll get to that a wee bit later in this video. I just wanted to apologise. I've been away for a while. I had an eye injury, which could have led to sight loss, so it was pretty serious. And I just had to take a break from doing videos and drawing. Anyway, in this video, I wanted to talk about a recent drawing that I've been working on. As you have seen from the beginning, this week we are drawing Princess Leia. Now, I'll let you judge the likeness. Now, this drawing has been a real difficult challenge for myself. Having had so long away from drawing, even though it was just like weeks, I am rusty, but also feel like I hit a bit of a wall while drawing this reference that I had. This is something I haven't experienced in a while, having been drawing for years now. I felt I can draw pretty much anything given the right amount of time. I can get to where I want to be, and I've realised, nope, Robert, you just aren't where you need to be, and you need to be still learning and still progressing along the path. It was good to realise that, and to realise that my journey down the road of art still has a long way to go, a long way to study, and a long way to learn. So watching Star Wars over the many years that I have, I've also been learning and questioning what is in the movie, and your brain kind of evolves with movies as you get older, and it's the same with books. If you've ever read a book as a kid and then you read it as an adult, you've got a totally different kind of perspective on things, and you might know a wee bit more. As I was a kid, Return of the Jedi, every Christmas I would sit down and we would have our TV guide, and you would circle Return of the Jedi's on Christmas Day, Christmas Eve. And I know it's kind of middle of May here and the sun's shining, so talking about Christmas is a wee bit out of order. But yeah, I love the experience of Christmas. I love the experience of sitting down with a TV guide and circling all the big movies that were going to come on TV that year. Because back in the day, you didn't have Netflix, you didn't have any of these big cinema, Sky Cinema. You had 4 channels, and you were lucky because every Christmas they would spend the budget and bring a big movie to the screen. E.T., Back to the Future, all the classics that you can think of from the 80s and probably the early 90s as well. But as a movie, however, that brought terror and delight to my soul. That is the Return of the Jedi. The Ewoks, as a kid, the Ewoks were these wee furry, cute, cuddly little bears that you're like, oh, but they were also quite assertive and scary. But the Ewoks, however, are not what frightened me the most. And we'll get to that a wee bit later. But this drawing, I was going for the realistic look. And as I worked myself through this process of drawing Princess Leia, I realised it was taking a long time to get the results. And I wrote little notes along the way, such as how long time it had taken me, and then even something just didn't look quite right. And I had been using the tools of Rebelle, some of these reference image guides, thinking this will keep me on the right track to getting the realistic look, to getting the look of the reference, to get the spacing correct, and guide me along getting something that really looked like Princess Leia. But even still, there were things still not correct. I was checking things and it wasn't getting anywhere, but we keep going. And I've always learned that about art, is even if you get a wee bit dismayed with the results you're getting, if you keep going, it kind of slowly moulds into a good drawing. And you might have to spend a lot longer than you intended, but it's a good idea to just keep trying to push through rather than getting frustrated, then start again and get frustrated again, and then start again and then get frustrated again. But it's just like a vicious circle, whereas if you keep going, you eventually get something perhaps that you're quite pleased with. During the process, I had to take a few breaks, and when I came back and looked at my work, I thought I was going in the right direction, and then I thought, no, it looks terrible. And I think, do all artists go through this? Let me know in the comments. I'm guessing probably yes is the answer. I realised how many mistakes I had made, so I realised I had eventually got to a point of the drawing that I thought I could post this on my Facebook, only to get an immediate comment from my daughter that Princess Leia had a double chin. She's like, Dad, your drawing's great, but why does Princess Leia have a double chin? To which I then looked at the horror and I was like, maybe she doesn't, but then I realised I had made other mistakes and quickly that post got deleted. Further to this, I had made further tweaks. I started working on the drawing again and then I posted on my Facebook, and then I noticed issues and thought, okay, I'm just going to leave it up. People seem to be thinking it's pretty decent, and even though I can see issues, I'll leave it. So it seems that with the Facebook posts and with trying to draw realism, I've hit a wall with my experience, which is quite nice, to be honest. Knowing that there's more to study and learn and techniques to develop, and I knew that, but at the same time I always thought in my head that with enough time I could really get to the results I want. Even if it took me 100 hours, I could get to the results just by what I've learned over the years of doing art. But it is nice, and it's nice to see I've got studying to do. I've got to go and figure out why it is I can't reach that goal that I'm trying to get to. And maybe my drawing skills are more advanced than your own. Perhaps you're of much higher skill level than my current journey. But the trick is to enjoy the path. Sitting doing this Princess Leia drawing, I had my 80s music on, I had my 80s rock on. Rock of Ages is one of my favourite movies, and I had some of those kind of older tracks on and the originals on, listening to them and just loving the process. So let's get back to the horror and time. Now this drawing has taken time, not as much as other drawings that I've done, but not as much time, but about 7 hours it is at this point. And time brings us back to what terrified me as a kid in Return of the Jedi. And it was and I'm going to totally murder this, I'm going to say the Sarlacc scene. The big pit in the middle of the desert with the big tentacles. With the big tentacles coming out. Now I've watched Boba Fett and the new TV series, and I've really enjoyed it. But back in the day, this big tentacle thing, and I watched it before all the CGI upgrades that I think were put in at a later date by George Lucas. But these tentacles were coming out and grabbing people and pulling it into the pit of this big monster's belly. And time, they fell into the belly of this beast, and the statement was made that these people would be slowly digested over thousands of years, or 1,000 years. And as a kid, I literally thought that people would live in that belly for 1,000 years of pain and suffering. And it scared the absolute crap out of me. Maybe it did the same for you. You can let me know in the comments. And it wasn't until much later in life when I thought, well, they would be dead because they've got no water within days. It's not like Alien, where the little beast is keeping the person alive for a certain amount of time, feeding them oxygen and nutrition, etc, etc. But they would probably be dead within days. And even though it's not the nicest of deaths, slowly starving over time, it's better than the horror that I thought of at the time, which was like 1,000 years of serious pain. I've got a new microphone, etc, links in the description, all that nonsense. Any of the techniques in this video that you've seen you'd like further explained, because I might be slightly further along in the journey than you are, let me know, and I can try and do a video specifically around that. If you're interested in a traditional process, you'll want to check out the video up in the corner. Thanks for watching this video, and wee Bob is out.